you're back after 27 minutes last week of Ozempic Von Erich here talking about world-class stuff. Now, I watched it because I can stand myself, but God bless you if you did. But as I promised in that one, I'm going to do an unboxing this time. I'm not big on like Mattel modern unboxing videos. I don't watch them, and even when I do them for the blog, it's kind of like sometimes it feels like the same old stuff. I mean, oh look, I opened the figure, here's the accessories, here's how it moves, here's how the face looks. Do I like it or not? I'm not big on influencing. With vintage stuff, we're just kind of like archaeology. We're looking at something old, we're smelling a little old air, although there is a crack, so I don't know how much old air is going to be in there. But some people are against it. Some collectors wouldn't open an old vintage figure. You know, this goes back a few years to me and my friend Chrissy Pissy, who I may have mentioned here before. He was on the blog a couple of weeks ago, his picture, so you can see him there. I know I've mentioned him on the blog. We share the same philosophy that, you know, if you want a gem mint figure, loose figure in your collection, and you can get it for a reasonable price on the card, on a beat-up card, why not? I did it with a Star Wars figure a few years ago, a vintage Star Wars figure. I got no heat from Star Wars collectors because I don't think they're looking to me, JW's Wrestling Memorabilia vlog, for Star Wars openings, but it's on here, it's on the channel, and I had great fun with that. So we're doing it with a wrestler this time. By the way, Chrissy Pissy's going to break the internet when he opens his stash. I hope I'm alive to see it. He got LJNs, he has everything, all genres of action figures. So, yeah, let's get to this. Today we're going to be opening it again. If you don't want to see a vintage figure opened, tune out now. Actually, stay. I want you to stay. I really do. Today we're going to be opening something I've never opened. Now, I opened as a child, and I still have them, the entire Galoob WCW United States released figure set. But I never opened one from the UK, and we're going to go big. You go big or go home with El Gigante. Now, I will say this. If he were alive and signing, I wouldn't be opening it. I'd be getting it signed, because actually it's in better shape than I thought when I bought it. And I have figures in worse shape than this carded and signed. Because you know what? When they're signed, and you know, you have a certain group of people who, you know, collect them, and you know, they're not always, especially if the person's gone, they're not always concerned about the condition. I mean, I could go kick my Hasbro Ultimate Warrior, signed Ultimate Warrior around a few times, and people would still be begging me for it. And it's not for sale, but maybe we'll show it on here. There's pictures of it. You can find them. But yeah, I never owned a carded Galoob UK. Now I do own some of the loose ones, and you can see the back. This is the first time I've seen the back in person of the UK card. Try to get a good glimpse. Of course, you had the 5 exclusive characters: El Gigante, Dustin Rhodes, the Freebirds, and Big Josh. I do own the Freebirds. And then, of course, they did repaints of the original line. They're not all shown on there, but the original wave, I should say, the US wave. And somehow I lucked out over the years to own all the Stings. As I said, I own the Freebirds, and I own all the Stings from the UK. I did happen to bring one. There's the Entrance Gear Sting, which is a great figure. And of course, you may recognize this if you collect the Toy Makers figures from 95 through, oh God, how long did they go? 99, when they did that Luger for KB, something like that. But of course, Toy Makers, which a lot of those were based on the Galoob designs, the sculpts, you could tell, the poses, they were bigger. But this is the third, I think it was like the third release. Well, they did endless repaints, but the second sculpt of Sting in that Toy Maker set is obviously based off of this one, and what a great figure it is. And I remember I got this one off of eBay, I'm sure, but I ended up with the other colored tights of the original Sting, and I don't know where they came from. So let's get to it. And again, it's in better shape than I thought when I purchased it, but I purchased it to open. I want to get him out of there. I think what I'll do is cut it along there, and then kind of flap it, and then I can store him in there for storage so he doesn't get beat up until I have time to display stuff again. I have nothing on display anymore. I wish I did. People always ask me, "Can you take pictures? Could I come over?" The answer is no to both because there's no display to be had. Sometimes I throw some things behind me, but for pictures, but for movies, for whatever, but there's no displays here. Someday. Chrissy Pissy wants to open a museum. A lot of Chrissy Pissy today. Shout out. So yeah, we'll open it right there. I love the old WCW card. There is a company that's doing some licensed Galoob wannabes, and then I know Epic Toys is doing lubes. We don't really know what those will end up looking like, but I just love the card design. I always did. And of course, a lot of people apparently learned from me, and I didn't think I was breaking any news, but years ago, oh God, probably 15 years ago, I discussed how some of the original US releases actually said NWA right there. And the wrestlers, the superstars of the NWA instead of the superstars of WCW. I think it was only like 3. I know it was Arn, because I have the Arn on the NWA card signed. I think it was Arn and Sting and maybe Flair or something. Somebody could correct me. I'm not up on all the card variants, but those were the original NWA figures. Until what? Well, the Remco said Ric Flair star of NWA or NWA champion or something. But as far as a line, some of the originals did say NWA, and I always liked that they said the wildest wrestling in the world, which I don't know that I would call WCW the wildest wrestling in the world, but I still liked it. It was a great tagline. So yeah, we'll open it up. Got the trusty scissors here, and don't cry if you're a carded person. Just don't cry. Do they have a little? No. Ooh, crunch. That's a bit of a hiss. If you know, you know. It's kind of coming up there. So it's always fun to watch me struggle, right? There we go. I did get under there after all. If I had better eyes and better lighting, I could have seen that little opening was there after all. This is coming along nicely. And of course it's out of the picture, so you're staring at me. Great videography, Josh. And like I said, there's a crack there, but we're still gonna sniff it for that 91 Air or 92, whenever these were made. Oh, it's musty. You know, I do buy a lot of collectibles from Japan, and almost all of them are musty. I don't think they have basements. I've never been to Japan. I would love to go to Japan. I don't think they have basements there. So I'm not sure, is it because of the water or what? But almost everything that I buy wrestling there is musty, and there's a very musty smell in here. Oh yeah. Which it doesn't bother me. I don't mind the musty smell at all, but here he comes. Here he comes. Yeah, he smells very musty. He'll lessen when he gets out more. There he is. The belt. I don't think it's any darker, is it? It might be a tad. I don't think it's discolored. It's hard to say. There he is. And you often, of course, see wear to the boots, and there won't be any here. And to the tuchus there. That's for Mick Maz tuchus. Shout outs galore today. There's the belt. And of course, it's the standard belt. The only one who has a different belt is Dustin Rhodes, because he has the, I guess it's because he has the vest sculpted on, and they had to get around that. So if you buy Dustin Rhodes, make sure he has make sure he has the belt, the correct belt. And there we are. The belt is, there it is. I guess it looks a little darker, but it's not. It's hard to say. And there is El Gigante. And he is a big figure. Definitely bigger than the Giant Gonzalez, which of course came out in the Hasbro line. There's those big ass knee pads he wore. El Gigante! That's my Capetta. I'm sorry to Gary Michael Capetta if he's watching this, but there he is. Put him up next to Sting here. You can see the height difference. And then, I'll get to that in a second. Let's see if he can hold the belt. He can. Kind of. We'll just do this. We'll pretend. There he is. And what I was going to say was that, of course, they were going to do a third series, which one of the company that's doing some new Galoobs is doing Diamond Stud and PN News. And then, of course, they were going to have Ricky Morton and Black Blood, who was Billy Jack Haynes under a hood. And they were going to do Flair in an entrance robe. And probably someone else that I'm not thinking of. And the Freebirds in entrance robes. And I just happen to have also brought Hayes and Garvin that were based on the original sculpts for those prototypes. These aren't the prototypes. They were done by a great customizer named Jason Wolf, and that's WULF. Another shout out. He's on all the socials. It's the art of Jason Wolf. He does great Galoob work. He does Hasbro retro style work mainly. I mean, I think that's his biggest. And he does LJN shrunk down the Galoobs. I mean, he can do all kinds of stuff. Chrissy Pissy, it's like, you owe me money, man. He introduced me. He would commission customs for my collection from Jason Wolf, and then from there, I have a whole bunch, and I'm going to get around to doing a group photo to put on the socials of all the Jason Wolf figures that I have. So he's a good guy. Check him out. Mainly on Twitter, I think, or fuck, it's called X now. But this is what they would have looked like, the third series Freebirds. And again, these are based on the original sculpts. I don't know if the paint, but I don't know if that's what the colors they would have been. But this is the colors that I certainly like them in. And they're Freebirds. What's your excuse? So, yeah, that's a little Galoob excitement for today. And it was open. It's open. I'm not going to, like I said, I'll keep the bubble on. I'll slide him back in there. The must smell is still there, but it's kind of leaving. When I opened the Star Wars figure, I ended up selling the card with the bubble attached that I had in the video for like half of what I paid for the thing, for the original, for the whole deal. I'm not going to sell this one. This, like I said, I'll keep him in here. But there is your El Gigante. There he is. Undertaker. All right, enough of that. So thanks again for watching. This is a little bit of a shorter one. Thank the Lord, right? We'll be back. I want to get into doing Josh, whatever the hell you want to call me, Josh, JW's pile of stuff. I want to do like 5 things at a time. I can tell stories about them. Everybody always wants to see everything and hear the stories. So, like I said, I don't have anybody here because there ain't anything on display. So, the artist Andy Warhol, who's from Pittsburgh, I'm not going to say I'm a fan. I'm not. But I don't really get pop art. But he had, and I think they have them all at his museum in Pittsburgh. I've never been. But he had what he called time capsules. And it was just a bunch of stuff that he collected. It could be anything from Mickey Mouse phones to human feet, mummified human feet, or some of the things that I've read that were in there. And he sealed them. And then after he died at his museum, they would slowly start to open them. And I think I've read they've opened them all now. But that's basically what my collection is like now. I mean, I just get stuff and I put them in the totes. So I'll find this there and this there. So we'll drag some of those out. We'll look through them. Like I said, I think 5 items at a time would be ideal. and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So look for that soon. And of course, always the blog. There'll be a new blog entry soon, I'm sure. But I'm having fun with the vlog, and I hope you guys are too. So thanks again, and we'll talk soon.